I was riding along and somebody hit me from behind and knocked me into the car in front of me. The back end was smashed in and the front end was all dented up as well. I spoke with State Farms on the phone and they had basically told me they recommended this shop. There was like 1 or 2 shops that they dealt with in Clinton, and that was the one that they recommended me to take my car to.
If an insurance company tells you to go to a shop, they're under obligation to inform you whether they have a financial relationship or a contract with that shop. In North Carolina, it's the law.
They never gave me a list of anybody else. It was basically, we recommend this place, and that's where I took my car. I didn't really ask any questions. It took probably about maybe a week and a half, maybe at the most. It really didn't take long for them to fix. It was a pretty fast job.
I have an office in Roseboro, actually in Roseboro Collision Center, and the owner, Kelly Black, contacted me. He was doing a repair on a vehicle that a lady brought in and noticed that the bumper wasn't fitting properly.
As soon as I popped the trunk, you could smell a musty, wet, moldy smell. And things were saturated with water. Look down into where the spare tire was, you could see damage that wasn't repaired. It had about 3/4 of an inch of water actually laying in the trunk itself.
The body shop got paid to replace the reinforcement. Some folks call it a rebar. It's a steel bar that goes across to absorb impact.
We pulled the front cover off and we found that this front rebar was supposed to be replaced. Obviously it wasn't replaced. They just covered it up. They put the bumper cover over top of it where you couldn't see this.
What appears to have happened is the body shop was paid for work that wasn't performed and billed for things that they didn't do.
The bumper reinforcement was buckled. It was pushed back into the radiator support and the cooling system.
Therefore, if this lady was ever hit in the front again, the energy would have not been absorbed as it was designed by Nissan. All that transfer of energy would have gone straight through the radiator, pushed that motor probably into the seat, into her lap.
This whole section where the floor of your trunk is what they call a trunk pan. This body shop had charged the insurance company to replace this entire piece. But instead of replacing it, they just cut it and welded a section in. And you can see right here, the spot welds about every 2 inches, 2.5 inches, and then seam sealed through here. That's never going to take another rear hit.
They took a torch, cut out the damaged part. It appears they put it on the ground, they beat it back together, and then soldered or welded it back in.
We've done a car liner measurement on the vehicle. Is out in numerous points from front to rear, and the rear probably is about as bad as I've ever seen.
Factory tolerance on a vehicle like this is within 3 millimeters. We like to keep them within 2 millimeters to stay in that spec, and this one's off 7.5 millimeters, so it's pretty far out. When they're out that much, that's why the doors won't line up properly. And there's no way you can line this car up without pulling it back square. There's no evidence of anything where they have ever pulled this car or straightened it.
We went inside with a bore scope, which is simply a camera that lets us look inside the vehicle. We can go into areas you can't see with the eye.
We run a bore scope up inside and you can see where it's rusting already. There's no corrosion protection on the inside of that frame rail.
We found extreme rust, poor welds, rips, cuts, holes that wasn't filled.
A lot of body shops take a shortcut at the very end. It's called not dressing a weld or not using corrosive protection.
One of the main concerns that car manufacturers have is corrosion, which gives premature failure of the metal, which could affect occupant safety or airbag deployment, premature or too late.
Right here, it's rusted through. There's a pinhole through right here. And anywhere you scrape on this, you can see all these little bubbles. That's actually rust behind that seam sealer. It's only been a matter of 2 years, so in another couple years, this stuff's going to be everywhere, and you're actually going to be able to probably stick your hand through it. It's going to be so rusty.
I've inspected cars since about '98, and this has to rank in the top 1% of bad repairs.
It really makes me mad considering the fact that I was running around in an unsafe car with my child. God forbid if something would have happened and somebody would have hit us the wrong way, my child might not be here anymore. I've been riding around in an unsafe car for going on 3 years now, and I didn't have a clue.
She never knew it, and most consumers don't. They only know what they see. It's sort of like looking at a person. They can walk around healthy, but feel bad. They go to the doctor, and they either may have heart problems or kidney problems or have cancer, but they don't know it.
These folks put this lady in harm's way just to save a few dollars. I often ask myself, some of these technicians in body shops, how they would feel if someone put their mother, their daughter, or their grandchild in a situation like they put my customer in.
This kind of repair goes on each and every day. The amazing part of this is we are a small business and we find these kind of repairs almost weekly, but I've never heard of an insurance company finding one of these repairs or reporting it.
I find bad repairs at shops time and time again, and I notify the insurance companies that these shops are doing bad repairs. However, they're never removed from their direct repair or preferred list. The only thing that I can surmise is that they're making enough money and saving enough money at that body shop that they're not worried about the consequences. They're putting families and lives at risk just to save money.
There needs to be a system of checks and balances. If the state would license body shops, then pull his license or fine him heavily. This stuff would end immediately. And I think there's a way of doing that without very little tax burden on the customer. By licensing body shops, certifying technicians, and holding them accountable.
If you go to a shop that's a direct repair shop or an insurance shop, whether the accident's your fault or not, you want to get a post-collision repair inspection, just for peace of mind. Now, each one of my locations at Collision Safety Consultants, we offer free visual inspections. So you can contact me, and if I don't have a shop in that area, I'll refer you to a shop that will do a free post-collision repair inspection.